Pannenberg claims that the acceptance of the principle of inertia in the 17th century represents not only a radical break in the history of science, but is also a fundamental problem. Pannenberg claims that the acceptance of the principle of inertia in the 17th century represents not only a radical break in the history of science, but is also a fundamental problem. Pannenberg claims that the acceptance of the principle of inertia in the 17th century represents not only a radical break in the history of science, but is also a fundamental this principle of contingency, so Pannenberg. Furthermore, as he remarks, quote, any contemporary discussion regarding theology and science should first focus on the question of what modern science, and especially modern physics, can say about the contingency of the world as a whole and every part in it. Only if science reveals a contingent universe can there be room for a doctrine of creation. Although Pannenberg thinks that contemporary field theory in physics, unlike the principle of inertia, does allow for a radical contingency in nature, I want to point to what he claims to be the original significance of the principle of inertia for the doctrine of creation. Pannenberg observes that, especially with Descartes, the principle of inertia, quote, leads to an emancipation of the natural processes from their dependence on God, even though the general framework of Descartes' ideas on the creation of the world and on the world's need for continuous preservation by God still quite traditional. It was, of course, Descartes who referred to inertia as the first law of nature. Descartes did take the law of inertia to be a manifestation of the immutability